Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So the Blood Angels are coming, descending from the sky on wings of fire and fury. And today on Warhammer Community we got our first little tease at some of the rules that we can look forward to in the Blood Angels supplement, which is coming up for pre-order this coming weekend. It seems like, as we saw in the Space Wolves supplement, that we shouldn't expect some huge big sweeping changes, like it sounds as though we may be expecting from some codexes like the Xenos ones. For example, the Drukhari, I believe it was mentioned that almost every unit has had some big stat line or weapon changes. I think that the main Marine Codex is where the majority of the unit changes came in for the Space Marines, and these supplements will mainly be a focus on sort of the unique relics, warlord traits and stratagems, and maybe one or two unique units, and so it's there that we may see some of the bigger changes, and this article today certainly reinforces that. So first they showed off a few things that don't appear to have changed. Notably, Savage Echoes is still the Blood Angels super doctrine that in the Assault Doctrine grants an extra attack to any unit that has charged, was charged or heroically intervened. Obviously for a chapter like the Blood Angels that love getting up close and personal, this is always a good thing, and although in general it is a shame that this can only really be activated in turn 3, there are things like adaptive strategy in the main codex that will let you get this off on a unit if you manage to get a turn 1 or a turn 2 charge. The Black Rage is another unchanged rule, giving your Death Company an extra attack if they charge or heroically intervene, and also giving them that 6-up shrug against wounds. Again, it's nice to add that extra killiness for the Death Company, and as the article states, that means that in the Assault Doctrine, your Death Company troops will be getting a massive +3 attacks on the turn that they charge or heroically intervene, which, with the +1 to wound that Blood Angels get as well, is going to be incredibly potent and allow you to really take down bigger targets as well as chew through hordes quite easily. Up next we have a change stratagem, a Red Rampage. This went from being a 1 command point stratagem that gave a Blood Angels character D3 extra attacks to instead being an army-wide buff which, in the Assault Doctrine, grants you an extra -1 AP when you roll a wound of 6. And I know some people lament the loss of the old Red Rampage, but for me this one, while yes it does require a bit more setup, is much more potent. If you manage to get off a couple of charges or trying to push an enemy off an objective or two in turns 4 or 5 and you activate this, your Astartes chainswords are moving up from -2 AP to -3, which is quite a big point, making Marines drop to those 6-up saves, and along with the huge number of attacks and the +1 to wound that Blood Angels have, means that each of those attacks is quite likely to be stripping wounds off the enemy. So whilst yes it can be hard to line up with 2 or 3 squads charging, which is what you want to do if you really want to make it super effective, I still don't think it's a bad stratagem to play even if you only have 1 unit in combat, because for 1 CP, even your basic Assault Intercessor squad that most Blood Angel players are going to be bringing, they're still going to have, sort of 50 odd attacks on the charge, which still means you're possibly going to be getting a few of those 6s to help you melt through those enemy saves. So I think for 1 CP, if you really need to push a unit off an objective, or you have a unit which has got pretty good armor saves, it's not a bad command point to spend even if you just get 1 squad charging off. If you get 2 or 3, then I would say it's almost a no-brainer, because you're going to be getting, so many of those 6s to boost your AP. Whatever you're up against is just going to sort of like melt under the weight of dice. Next up, the old warlord trait Artisan of War has changed as well. This is quite a big warlord trait. Before it was giving you an extra point of damage on a weapon, which for all of you Blood Angel players that played Smash Captains out there knew, this would often be put on a Thunderhammer to make it damage 4. This now gives you access to a special issue relic on top of any other relic that you've given your warlord. So you can give him Adamantine Mantle, Artificer Armor, a Mastercrafted Weapon, or Digital Weapons. And I actually much prefer this overall. If you still want that point of damage, just go for Mastercrafted Weapon, because that does exactly the same thing, but it gives you that option to add some more survivability in terms of the Artificer Armor or the Adamantine Mantle, or some possible mortal wound output from the digital weapons. So it just adds a little bit more scope for options and variety on your warlord, which in my opinion is never a bad thing. And I can honestly still see this being sort of like the go-to warlord trait, because if you just want that pure melee Smash Captain, just do it and take Mastercrafted. But the fact that you can sort of like pick and choose on a case-by-case basis of whether you want your warlord to be more survivable or be more damaging in different ways. If you're going up against loads of stuff which has got like good invulnerables, maybe digital weapons. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this warlord trait change. I think it's a pretty good warlord trait overall, to be honest. Another relic that they show off which has changed is the Icon of the Angel, which I believe used to be a 3-inch bubble that gave core units a reroll to their charges. Now it just flat out buffs any Blood Angels unit in a 6-inch aura and gives them the rerolls, which, I mean, obviously there's nothing big in terms of the actual mechanics change, but that's a big change. The aura going from 2 6 inches from 3 inches, as well as the fact that it now affects any unit, is absolutely huge. It means that your characters that are accompanying your units can benefit from the charges as well, which is often quite crucial in Blood Angel strategies, and it also means that you don't have to bunch up quite so much. You can spread out your units a little bit more and still be in that reroll bubble. I think this is a good change for this relic, and it's I don't know if it's one that's taken all that often as it is, but I mean, obviously the thing with Blood Angels is that you need them in combat, so if you are failing your charges, you're just going to lose. So the fact that you have this relic to reroll charges is, in my opinion, pretty good for the Blood Angels, and this just makes it even better. Finally, in the article we see another piece of war gear, which we know in the form of the Magna Grapple. This, I just checked Battle Scribe, and it doesn't seem to have changed from the way it was previously, and so in my opinion it is unfortunately still rather questionable in whether you would ever sort of like pay, I think it's 5 points. I personally don't think I would ever pay 5 points for it. It seems very niche in terms of its use, and there's a few things about it that I just don't really get. First and foremost is very nicely displayed in the picture that Games Workshop have put in the article, which is that it only affects vehicles anyway. So all of those big scary gribblies like the Greater Demons and the Tyrannid monsters and the Tau battlesuits, they can't even be affected by it anyway, so that picture in itself is kind of misleading, and it just seems like it requires a lot of hoops to jump through for it to be worth it. You've got to reach combat with your Dreadnought, you've got to charge the enemy and not kill them, you've got to survive the attacks back, and then you've still got to roll higher than the vehicle's strength on 2d6, which isn't always the easiest thing to do in the world. A lot of Space Marine vehicles are sort of like strength 6, strength 7, I believe Land Raiders are even strength 8, so whilst it's average rolling, it's by no means sort of like assured that you're going to do this. And with lots of vehicles now able to fire in combat, I certainly know that if I am stuck with my Predator in combat with a Dreadnought and it survived the first round of attacks, I'm probably not going to fall back anyway. I'm just going to unload my las cannons into the Dreadnought and hope that I can just, shoot it off the hull. I'm not sure that this will be taken as it is, but it is always nice for more options to be available to players in the supplement, so I mean, I guess I can't complain, but I just think that for 5 points, I don't really see it being taken ever, to be honest with you. Maybe in some very niche situations against certain armies, like for example, I could see it being useful against like Drukhari Venoms, because you're probably going to beat their strength and their guns are not going to do much damage to you in combat, but at the same time, if your Dreadnought charges a Venom and doesn't kill it, your Dreadnought's probably doing something wrong. So yeah, I just can't really see that being very used overall by Blood Angels players, but as I said, nice to have options, so can't really complain. So that's it for the Blood Angels so far. I am sure we will be getting more rules and previews over the coming week and find out more about what the Sons of Sanguinius are bringing to the table. But what did you think of these rules so far? Do you like the new Red Rampage and Artisan of War? And what other stratagems, relics and warlord traits would you like to see come back or change in the supplement? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, if you like these videos, please do like and subscribe for more. Until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.